Hey guys, Mark here. In this video, I'm going to show you how I print 22K per day using video ads. Now, the funny thing is when it comes to video ads, what most people do, all right, basically this illy looking smooth brain guy right here, what they do is they'll go on the Facebook ads library, they'll find the top competitor, and they'll basically just like rip their ads one-to-one. And to be fair, this method works very occasionally though, and you run a high risk of a whole bunch of stuff going wrong. So what you should do instead is be this fucking Chad right here, aka the anti-smooth brain gentleman, and actually learn a format of running ads that you can create yourself that'll actually outperform these ripped ads without any of the consequences, without any of the downsides. Because the cool thing about what I'm about to show you is there is one format of a video ad. It's like the holy grail of video ads. It's like if there is a Mount Rushmore of video ad structures, this would be on there. It's so incredibly powerful. And anytime that I launch like a new product, new offer, whatever, I'm always using the structure because it is so freaking tried and true. So let's go ahead and talk about what the structure actually looks like. All right. So this first portion of the ad, you know it, you love it. It's the most important part of an ad ever, period, end of story. And that is going to be the hook. Right? But the hook is actually, what most people don't understand is that the hook is actually made up of three different things. It's not just a copy, right? There's actually three things that create a really high converting hook. And if you don't understand all three of these things, then you're basically cooked and you're shooting yourself in the foot from day one, all right? AKA smooth brain activity. So the first is going to be the actual copy itself, right? This is going to be like the one line, the one sentence, the first sentence of your video ad. This piece right here, I would say is about 80% of your overall success. Incredibly important. By far the most important ingredient of these three. And if you fuck this up, it doesn't even matter because nobody else is going to watch the rest of your ad because your hook is dog shit. And by the way, if you want to know if you have a good hook or not, what you should be looking at is a term called your hook rate, right? Which is essentially the percentage of people that continue watching your ad after the first initial portion, right? So that is the first piece. The second piece is going to be the scroll stopper. Now, scroll stopper is simply the video that is going on in the background behind the copy, right? So I'm going to go over how to actually tackle this as well, but this is going to be about 15% of your success of the hook. And then the remaining 5% is simply going to be the audio. So for example, are you using like an AI voiceover? Are you using just regular UGC? Is there just music in the background and only text overlay? These three ingredients make up winning hooks. Now, of course, the question becomes, cool, Mark, that sounds great, but like, how do you actually make a winning hook, especially the copy, because that is going to be the most important piece? Well, luckily for you, I made you a nice, beautiful little checklist. Now, I have a list of 7 things here, and you don't need to have all 7 of these things to have a really successful hook. But the more that you can check off, the more successful that hook is probably going to be. All right. So the first thing that you need your hook to be is it needs to check the box of curiosity, right? This is the most important ingredient. One of the most common structures in copy is something called an open loop. And an open loop is essentially promising something that's going to happen later in the ad. That is a perfect way for you to trigger curiosity, although there's a number of ways that you can do that. Number 2, call out the pain point. All right. This was popularized by copywriter Gary Halbert when he came up with like the if-then statement, right? So it's like, if you struggle with this, then keep watching this video, right? The only thing that I don't like about those direct call outs is that I think they're super overplayed. Like if you think of when you were younger and you were watching those infomercials and it was like, if your loved one has suffered with mesothelioma, it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like everybody has heard that fucking hook at this point, but the fact that it still works for other people should show you just how powerful that pain point is. Now, it doesn't have to be in that exact format, but that can be a great way for you to hook in your audience. Number 3, promise a solution. So this is also referencing like open loop, right? So if you actually promise something that's going to come later in the ad, then people have to continue to watch the ad to figure out what the solution is in the first place. Number 4, specificity, right? If you think of like a weight loss offer and it's like how to lose weight fast. Okay, that's pretty good, very simple, but how fast are we talking? If you take that from how to lose weight fast to how to lose weight in under 14 days, and then you take it another step and say how to lose 10 pounds in another 14 days, all of a sudden that headline, that hook becomes so much more intriguing, triggers more curiosity, gets people more bought in because it's hard for our brain to conceptualize things that aren't specific. But if you add specificity, then it's very likely to increase your hook rate and have a more successful ad. Number 5, credibility and addressing skepticism. So this is why a lot of really successful ads, especially VSL ads, will be scaling with some sort of authority figure, right? A lot of the most successful VSL campaigns in the world, they have some massive either like celebrity endorsement or something else that is just able to completely eradicate the objection around skepticism. Because, for example, if you're selling a product that has to do with your health, it's going to be difficult to convey that you know what you're talking about. But if you're a Harvard PhD doctor talking about how to solve your health issues, completely different story at that point. Number 6, time frame to achieve results. So what I said earlier, right? Specificity also combats this time frame to achieve results. So like lose weight quickly compared to lose weight in under 14 days, right? Very, very, very powerful methodology to writing killer hooks. And then number 7, last but not least, we got simplicity. Because if you try to check off every single one of these, what's going to happen is you're going to have a super long hook that just confuses people. I had a copywriting mentor that I'll never forget what she told me. She was like, Mark, when you're writing copy, you don't want to impress people with how clever your copy is. You just want them to buy. The best compliment that a copywriter can ever get is, Mark, this copy is so good, I wanted to buy it. The worst compliment that you can get about a copy is like, well, probably not the worst, but not a good compliment would be, Mark, this is really good copy. If it was really that good, you'd pull out your fucking credit card and buy it. So let's actually look at an example from a really well-known brand to see how well they did on this particular checklist here. So this is a brand called Primal Queen. I'm sure you're well aware, but they sell supplements typically to women over the age of 30 that want to regulate their menstrual cycles, their hormones, overall feel better by selling beef organs and that whole shtick.
And this is what happens to your body when you eat beef organs for 30 days.
All right, so you heard that. And this is what happens to your body when you eat beef organs for 30 days. All right, so let's check a few off. Did we get curiosity? Absolutely. Yes, because now I want to know what actually happens to my body after I eat beef organs. We can also cross off number 3 because saying what happens, what is going to happen to your body is promising a solution for this particular product. Does it call out the pain point? No. Is it specific? Absolutely. It added that 30-day time period, which actually crosses off specificity as well as time frame to achieve results, right? How about credibility? Not really any credibility there. How about simplicity? I would say yes. So overall, we checked 4 out of the 7 boxes. This is a really good score. Again, you don't necessarily have to check every single box, but this is a very successful ad that is running for this very, very large brand. And literally just like knowing how to reverse engineer some of these ads is like such a great use of your time, but I digress. Well, this is how you actually create good hooks, right? This is the philosophy behind it. Now let's actually write some hooks ourselves. So what I do when I'm writing hooks is, I'm a huge fan of AI. I actually like to build custom projects inside of Claude to help me write hooks. All right. So if you want like all the instructions and all the documents in here to actually write these hooks yourself, then just go to my Instagram and DM me the word Claude and I'll send it over to you. All right. So what you want to do, since all of the hard work has already been done, the prompting is done, I can literally just say like, write me a list of 10 hooks for my ad. Simple as that, because I already loaded in all the information on the product. I loaded in all the foundational docs. Now, since all the heavy lifting is done, we just gotta get this nice, lovely list of high quality ad hooks. All right, so let's read through a few of these and see how good they are. So the first thing I'm seeing is that number 1, all of these are relatively the same length and they're all a little bit longer than I want them to be. But let's take a read anyways. Number 2 rather. I stopped needing my 3 p.m. coffee after discovering what happens when women take beef organs the same way our great grandmothers did. So not bad. I like the first half. I despise the second half. Let's give another set of instructions here. Just say, these are a little bit too long. Join them up, please. Again, you don't need to be a fucking prompt engineer master after you do all the hard work of prompting it in the first place. Now you can kind of talk to it just like a regular human being. All right, let's read through a few of these. After 47 failed supplements, I learned why primitive women never had hormone chaos. Not bad, but I think we lose the simplicity piece here. Number 7, the weird reason I take ovary pills and why my husband noticed first. I love the second half of that one. First half is okay because it's not really, I guess it is beef ovary. My period stopped controlling my life when I fed my body what it was starving for. So some of these are okay. Some of these are obviously better than others, but this is a great way just to get you started, right? You don't need to be ripping ads. You can take the philosophy of why other brands are scaling successfully and just reverse engineer for your own brand. As simple as that. And by the way, I know I talked a little bit about scroll stoppers. If you do DM me the word Claude on IG, I'll also throw in this really cool strategy that I use with VO3 to create super, super engaging scroll stoppers. So again, if you want that, just DM me Claude and I'll send it over to you. So the next portion of the ad after the hook is done is of course going to be the body. Now the body is going to kind of differ depending on the structure of ad that you're writing. Typically for an ad like this, I'm aiming for a length of between like 1 to 2 minutes, typically not longer than that. So this isn't going to be like a mini VSL. This isn't going to be even a full length VSL, definitely not, but it still is extremely, extremely powerful. And in the body, you should really be aiming to cover 2 things, right? So the first thing that you want to cover is going to be the mechanism. And you don't have to break this down into like mechanism of the problem, mechanism of the solution. All I mean when I say mechanism, if you don't know what it is what is the reason that this product is completely different from anything else, and why has all the other products that have came before it completely failed? Like, you almost want to think about it as like the root cause of the problem or the root cause of the solution. It's very similar, technically different, but that's how you should essentially conceptualize it. And so if we go and look at this ad here from Primal Queen, look at what the body says.
After 24 hours, you feel a clean, iron-powered...
By the way, what they're doing here is a concept called future pacing. They're basically painting the picture of what your future is going to look like after you start using the product, because people can't understand in their brain like specific emotions unless they have imagery attached to them and unless they see the outcome positioned in a way that resonates with them.
Iron-powered boost in energy. If you're like most women, you've been walking around with chronically low iron, leaving...
All right, so right there, if you're like most women, you've been walking around with chronically low iron. So in this case, they actually did tackle the unique mechanism of the problem being really low storages of iron in women's bodies, which is a super, super well-known thing in women. Like, so many women are just like straight up super iron deficient. So they're leaning into that and explaining that that's the real reason that so many women have issues with their energy, with their cycle, with their gut health, etc.
You feeling drained and sluggish. But once your body gets real absorbable iron, you'll notice the difference instantly. No more dragging yourself.
And of course, in this case, the unique mechanism of the solution is going to be to get iron from animal-based organs. That's really the main selling point, and that's why so many women that take like regular iron supplements, I don't know if you saw this in the ad, but it literally highlighted that you need to be taking animal-based sources of iron, right? So you're immediately differentiating yourself from just traditional iron supplements and saying how this is the ultimate real solution that you need to be taking. So that's the first section of the body, right? Again, it's going to look different in every ad, but you need to have some way to differentiate yourself. And the mechanism is a fantastic way to do that. The other thing that you have to do in the body is essentially, there's no fancy word for this. It's literally just like the how it works section. So looking at Primal Queen, what does this actually look like?
Selves through the day. After 1 week, mood swings and bloating start to fade. Primal Queen's grass-fed liver and ovaries flood your systems with bioavailable B vitamins, zinc, and hormone balancing nutrients like choline and...
So if you're in Nutra or you're selling supplements, you can basically think of this section as like the ingredients, because that is a main differentiating factor in supplements, period, is just going to be like the ingredients. So the how it works section is what are these ingredients actually doing to the hormones and the stuff in your body? And you can see here, it's talking about choline and CoQ10.
CoQ10. These nutrients help regulate your cycle and hormones.
And once again, it's explaining here how it works. Like these nutrients, CoQ10 and choline, they help regulate your cycle. They help you do X, Y, and Z, right? So I'm not going to continue to play the rest of this ad right now, but I want to say the most important part here, especially with the body, is notice they're not just like saying the ingredients and moving on. They're not just saying the mechanism and moving on. The important piece here is that they're tying it in to some kind of like tangible outcome. At the end of the day, people do not buy products for the features. People do not even buy products for the benefits. They buy products for the outcome that it is going to get them. In this particular case, it says, yes, balance hormones, X, Y, Z, but ultimately...
Fact, in our last clinical trial, 83% of women reported feeling more balanced and over 40% saw a significant...
83% reported feeling more balanced. What the fuck does that even mean, bro? More balanced? Like, or are you having trouble walking? Like, come on.
Improvement in their hormone health, feeling like their body was finally working with.
But this is really the selling point. Feeling like your body is finally working with you instead of against you. That is the ultimate outcome that these women are after. And that's being leveraged by the research that was done on this particular offer. So everything that you do, like every piece of copy that you write, whether it's like the hook, the body, and the other sections we're going to get to, everything should tie into an outcome, or else you're just talking about the product. It's not about the product. It's about what the product can do for them. What is the outcome that they can actually get? Now, the next section of the ad is going to be CTA number 1. This is call to action number 1. Now, notice it's number 1. So you can probably guess that there's going to be another call to action at the very end of the video, which is going to be CTA number 2. My golden rule of call to actions is just keep it simple, stupid. Do not overthink it. Just you want to have super, super clear instructions on how people can buy the product. And then once again, tie it into the outcome, right? So if we look at this ad specifically from Primal Queen, let's see how they structured their CTA.
Energy, clarity, and control you've been craving. This is why thousands of women take Primal Queen daily. It makes sense why it sold out 3 times this year alone. I mean, with a 365-day money-back guarantee and 4 free gifts included, there's literally nothing to lose. But don't wait. Stock is running.
So here's the CTA. Don't wait. Stock is running low, triggering a little bit of scarcity.
Low yet again. Tap below to claim yours before it's gone.
Tap below to claim yours before it's gone. Like, simple as that. Like, make the instructions clear. Don't overthink it. That is all you need to do for CTA 1. Now, after CTA 1 is a super crucial ingredient that most people just completely neglect. And to be fair to Primal Queen, they actually did do it here, but they didn't do it as well as you probably can. But there's different ways to do it. So like, this next section is basically going to be your social proof. Now, this could be as simple as saying like, join the 100,000 women that have already reclaimed their health, or it could be actual video testimonials. So I want to show you another example from this brand here, a brand that you probably all have seen as well, called Pet Lab Co. But I want to specifically show you their social proof section. Don't just take my word for it though. Listen to what these dog parents had to say right here. Now check this section out.
Right here.
Probiotic chews.
Probiotic chew.
Probiotic chew for my baby.
She just started getting so much better.
So a lot less licking of his paws.
The itching and the scratching have significantly been reduced.
I would highly, highly recommend that if you have a dog that is struggling with any of those kind of things, that you jump on the probiotic train.
So if you want to help your dog.
All right, so I don't know if you noticed, but the point of the social proof section is not just to have social proof for the sake of social proof. That is smooth brain activity, actually. That is some basic ass bullshit. And we're not here for that, right? We're here for the fucking sauce. So every testimonial that you include in your ad, it should serve a purpose. It's not just there to be like, oh, this product is great. No, it should do one of two things. The most common one that I would tap into is to do what's called pre-handling objections. This is almost, comparable to like the FAQ section on one of your landing pages, except you're pre-handling it. So you're not even allowed the objection to come up. You're just handling it before it even becomes an issue. So what you should do in your testimonials is when you have your customers film them, make sure that they're specific. For example, one of the ones on this particular ad was specifically around dog that was like consistently licking. Like if your dog is always licking its paws, right? That is definitely a super large pain point and that's an objection that needs to be overcome. Like, does this work if my dog is always licking his paws, which is a super, super common thing with dogs that don't have good health. Like, that's one of the most common symptoms. The second thing that your testimonials or your social proof can really do is to do what's called seeding. Now, seeding is just the act of inserting beliefs subconsciously into your prospects before they buy. So I believe that everything regarding marketing at its core is just a game of changing belief. It's a game of belief change work. So your customers are coming into your brand with a specific set of beliefs. All you have to do is change those, shift those beliefs into beliefs that align with buying your product. And as soon as you do that, they will actually buy. So you should have crystal clarity. And this is why I built the foundational docs, by the way. I'll leave a link in the description. This is why you need to understand which beliefs your customer has to have in order to buy. Your testimonial should be seeding those beliefs into the ad. And then of course, the final section here is going to be the last little call to action, right? The only difference, in my opinion, between a well-executed CTA 1 and a well-executed CTA 2, CTA 1 is basically to pick up the people that have consumed enough information already that they're ready to buy. So people that have watched like all this section right here and they're good to go, that's why you have that first CTA. The second CTA is to pick up the more skeptical people that need that social proof. They need those beliefs overcome. They need those objections pre-handled. So then when CTA 2 comes around, it's basically like, a 1-2 combo. If you don't get them with one, you're going to get them with the other. Now, the main difference here is when it comes to CTA 2, and this is actually what Primal Queen did really, really well, you want to add a few things. Number one, I would add whatever your guarantee, I'm not going to spell that shit out, whatever your fucking guarantee is, right? So if you have like 30-day money back guarantee, 120-day money back guarantee, whatever it is, include the guarantee on there to overall reduce the risk for the customer to get the results. Number two is going to be scarcity. So this is also something that Primal Queen did. Like they said, this product is already sold out 3 times this year and they're probably going to sell out again. So I would guess yours while they still have it, right? Simple example of scarcity, just don't do it unless that's obviously actually true. And then the final thing is going to be the offer. In this case, once again, with Primal Queen, their offer was you get the product, but you also get like these 4 amazing free gifts, which probably are, never mind, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but they're 4 amazing free gifts. So if you hit these 3 pieces, if you read any fundamental like copywriting book, you just cross off like 90% of the things that you need to hit in the close section of like a sales letter. So congratulations, you just made a fucking amazing ad and you stuck to the fundamentals. Great work. But believe me when I tell you guys, this is a format that has ripped for so many freaking brands. Like it is just absolutely destroyed. In my brands across multiple different industries, with my friends, you look at the top brands, everybody is running some variant of this ad structure right here. And that's because it's just so goddamn powerful. So if you like all this content and you want help actually building these ads yourself and even building your entire store, that's why I have Brand Builders Academy. It's my mentorship program that I own with my partner, Alex. If you want to join, I'll leave an application link below this video. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Run more ads. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.